Coming up on National Focus, Dominica's Met Office predicts a near-normal to active hurricane season.
The National Emergency Planning Organization meets to discuss disaster management in Dominica.
And 2012 Business Lab focuses on Dominica's cultural industry.
Hello,
I'm Jarna Hector. Welcome to National Focus.
And I'm Mervin. Thank you for joining us.
Topping the headlines, National Security Minister urges proper disposal of white goods.
And Penville celebrates the Feast of the Assumption.
Stay tuned as we bring you details of these stories and more when National Focus returns. Beginning today's news, the National Emergency Planning Organization, NEPO, met to strategize for a hurricane season of minimal damage to the island. NEPO usually meets twice a year to discuss disaster management issues facing Dominica. GIS News spoke with acting coordinator of the organization, Don Corriet, who felt that NEPO's Monday meeting was very fruitful.
Very productive and very necessary in that we get in from all the sectors. What their plans are, what their strengths are, and most importantly, what their weaknesses are. And collectively, if we can help in strengthening where we find gaps, where we find weaknesses, then we're going to be doing that.
Minister for National Security and Chairman of NEPO, Honorable Charles Savre, officially began the meeting with remarks that every Dominican can help to minimize the potential damage of disasters by being conscious of waste disposal methods.
I am hoping that our people generally will recognize that while we cannot prevent tropical waves, tropical depressions, tropical storms and hurricanes, we can nevertheless make an effort to reduce the impact of these developments on the people of this country.
Honorable Savre pointed out that the improper disposal of white goods could possibly stem water flow in areas and cause serious harm to communities. Meanwhile, NEPO coordinator Don Corriet presented plans to boost the disaster management capabilities of the island. He listed a model community disaster plan, disaster risk reduction programs for schools, and a model ministry disaster plan in the works. This year's second meeting of the National Emergency Planning Organization proceeded to discuss other immediate risk factors affecting the state.
In related news, the Met Office has revealed expectations of a near-normal to active hurricane season. Senior Meteorological Officer Fitzroy Pascal presented information at NEPO's meeting on active weather systems relevant to Dominica. The presentation dealt with the last two tropical storms which dumped heavy rains on the island, as well as currently developing systems, including a tropical wave expected to affect Dominica as soon as Tuesday.
For tomorrow, we have one tropical wave which is expected to affect Dominica tomorrow. We have an area of interest. The National Hurricane Center has been giving it an 80% chance of developing into a tropical depression, and we have a third tropical wave just coming off the coast of Africa, which we're expecting to affect the islands on Friday.
Pascal stated that the El Nino factor, which was expected to lessen storm activity, has not emerged, therefore the season could be an active one.
The El Nino event inhibits Atlantic tropical cyclone activity by producing high wind shear. However, we have not seen the onset of this El Nino event. So we're looking at, and as we're approaching the peak of the season, we're looking at a near normal to active season.
The Met officer reminds the public to pay close attention to official bulletins and to be always prepared.
In other news, a number of young entrepreneurs with a desire to develop their own businesses in the cultural industry will for the next few days be engaged in a cultural enterprise business lab. The business lab, organized for the second successive year by the Dominica Youth Business Trust in collaboration with Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation, will help preserve diversity while providing practical ideas for new businesses in the cultural industry. Last year's business lab focused on the tourism sector. Youth Minister Honorable Justina Charles is looking forward to another successful program.
This year's business lab focuses on the cultural sector, which puts me in the focal position of having to ensure collaboration within the ministry as the minister responsible for both the cultural division and the Dominica Youth Business Trust. This is an exciting opportunity for the ministry, and I am very happy to be in this focal position. The report from the Dominica Youth Business Trust indicates that at least 21 of the 31 young entrepreneurs who participated in last year's business lab are in operation and made some progress in the development of their products, which can be attributed to the knowledge and skills gained from the business lab. This represents a 68% success rate over a 12-month period.
David Sliper and Rena Yaff will facilitate this week's training exercise. Sliper explained that the training will be presented in a format which will be easily understood.
What we are going to do here in the following 5 days is not really to teach. We are going to work together and to learn from each other how to really do it. And it's not difficult techniques. It's actually a change in our own mindset. How can we really use what we have, what the environment gives us in a methodological way to achieve the results we want to achieve.
The program will help participants to address the challenges of business creation and to develop skills to create eco-friendly enterprises that will preserve the fragile diversity of communities across Dominica. The Organization of American States is also collaborating in this entrepreneurship program, which will create job opportunities for Dominica's young people. OAS representative to Dominica, Ambassador Michael Behos, encouraged participants to make good use of this week's training.
Your instructors, David and Rena, have vast experience and knowledge, and they have traveled from halfway around the world to share these with you. So I encourage you to please make the most of them and learn as much as you can over the next few days.
Jules Pascal of the Youth Development Division is optimistic that this latest initiative will assist his department with its mandate of providing training and employment opportunities for young people.
During the business labs, you will discover certain things. And of course, that is what the lab is all about, to help you to discover, to make new discoveries as well. So now I will certainly let you know that the Youth Development Division is fully supportive of this program, is fully supportive of you as young people, and we certainly want to help you to move one step further in your businesses.
Last year's Business Lab realized a 60% success rate. The Ministry of Culture is looking forward to an increased figure this year.
And the Catholics on Sunday congregated at the Penville Roman Catholic Church for a Mass of the Feast of the Assumption, a day Catholics say Virgin Mary, Mother to Jesus Christ, ascended to heaven. Celebrated every year in August, the Feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary commemorates the death of Mary and her bodily assumption into heaven. Father Herman Sharpless presented a historic perspective on the feast, saying that the occasion has been celebrated dating back to the 5th century.
The dogma of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary was proclaimed in 1950, but this observance has been celebrated on this day from the middle of the 5th century. And that must be emphasized. It has been celebrated from the middle of the 5th century. That's hundreds of years ago. And so today, as we celebrate this feast, we do that as people of faith, because just as Mary was assumed into heaven, we believe that one day we too will see our Lord Jesus Christ face to face and to be assumed or taken up to heaven. Not like Mary, but that we will be taken up when we see Jesus face to face.
Father Sharpless reminded the congregants that the Blessed Virgin Mary was deserving of honor, but should not be regarded as having equal to Jesus Christ.
And I want to make that point, because many times we are told that we worship Mary. I want to emphasize, brothers and sisters, if you believe in your faith, if you are a professing Catholic, you do not worship Mary. Worship is only to God and God alone. And all worship we offer goes through Christ to the Father. What we do in the Catholic Church is we honor Mary. Honor is not worship.
The Feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary is associated with herbs and fruits, and the Roman ritual includes a blessing for such. Congregants brought fresh flowers to adorn the church in Mary's honor, and also brought fruit, vegetables, and herbs to be blessed. Sunday's church service was attended by members of Cabinet and Prime Minister and the parliamentary representative for the Vikas constituency, Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, who admonished those present to be mindful of their alcohol intake.
This village is made up of very hard-working people, and it is a time for them to enjoy themselves and to celebrate their hard work over the year. But in celebrating, we have to always do so in great moderation. We have to consume the alcoholic beverages and spirits with great moderation, especially those of us who may be suffering from hypertension or diabetes, as the alcoholic beverages contain high levels of sugar. And so therefore we have to be very careful with how much we consume over the day.
The Prime Minister used the opportunity to assure villagers that funds will be made available soon for roadworks in the Penville community.
Those of you who are coming here, and of course those who live here and driving on the roads, we see the condition of the roads. I have, in fact, as Member of Parliament, spoken to the Minister of Finance, and he has assured me, that once the water project is over, then the funds will be made available to reinstate the roads. And I take his word for it.
In more news, speaking at the peak of this year's hurricane season, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt is concerned about the level of readiness at community levels. Prime Minister Skerritt expressed this thought at a meeting of the National Emergency Planning Organization early Monday morning. Honorable Skerritt felt that before the start of the hurricane season, communities should invest more effort in actions that could minimize hurricane damage. The Prime Minister also suggested that public servants with responsibilities to specific areas of the island should automatically bring their expertise to a community disaster preparedness committee.
And I believe that the public service must ensure that public officers who are stationed in respective communities, that part of their job description is that they have to be part of the disaster response team. You see, so if you have a police sergeant in a police station or village, he cannot not be involved in disaster response. The district nurse cannot not be part of the committee. The school principal who has a responsibility for 900 students under her care, because the storm can hit us at any time, during school hours, whatever it is, that school principal must be involved. If you have the district development officer, that person must be involved in the disaster office and disaster response team, so that those of us who are not trained in the respective communities, we can get training from those who are trained in it, and then our response will be more organized.
Honorable Skerritt noted the importance of channeling sufficient resources into minimizing the potential damage of natural disasters. He said this is necessary at a national level, especially since the emergence of the global financial crisis.
In this global economic and financial challenges, those who you normally would rely on help for themselves have their own serious challenges confronting. And therefore, if they were able to give you $40 million, they may only be able to give you $4 million or $2 million. And we have to be mindful of that and so.
Prime Minister Skerrit emphasized that disaster preparedness is crucial to managing both life and property. You know, Mervin, I think that being ready for disasters is more than just buying crackers and batteries. I think it has to do with mental preparation. What do you think?
Well, I think even although I agree with you, but it's even more than that. I think too often that we Dominicans, quote unquote, wait until we get this notification from the Met Office saying that, hey, you know, there's going to be some natural disaster. There's supposed to be a watch or warning. That means, well, very soon you're going to feel some heavy rains or winds or so on. And then everybody runs to the supermarket. Everybody takes all the candles that are available that they haven't touched in for how long. And it is sad because when you think of it, at the end of the day, there are persons out there long before hurricane season telling the people, hey, stock up on these things. This is hurricane season. You never know when it's going to strike. Be prepared. And that's the message at the end of the day. It's all about being prepared.
You know, I think it has a lot to do with not panicking, because sometimes we hear hurricane warning and we think panic, buy everything. So maybe our authorities have a role to play in causing people not to panic, you know?
Yes. And I think they have been trying to do that for the longest while. It's just that some people just like to wait for the last minute and rush out and get. And next thing, somebody like me who probably wants to top up, and I have to wait until co-workers like Albert Tousse, for example, is in the line when you're not supposed to be in the first place looking for candles and bottled water. So on that note, let's aim to be completely prepared, especially now that we are at the peak of the hurricane season. Finally, this news time, the grounds of the Roseau Youth Center has been given a facelift thanks to the efforts of a group of young people from the Roseau North Youth District. This landscaping project complements the reconstruction of the youth center. Terry Raymond is the Youth Development Officer for the Roseau North and Valley District and is also responsible for the summer day camp in that area.
The youth center was dormant for a year or two because of refurbishing, and now that the center is coming back up for use, the young people have decided that they wanted to do the landscaping of the center. And as you can see, they have been doing a lot of work to get the center prepared in terms of painting in the dormitory, in terms of cleaning up or washing the area, and in terms of doing a lot of things to ensure that the centers are ready for use come September.
Felicia Pierre is the director of the summer day camp in the Roseau North District. She tells GIS News that the landscaping of the youth center's yard is part of a series of activities which the young people were engaged in during the summer holidays.
We are taking out some of these stones at the back of the youth center and basically just spreading it out around the yard. And we coordinated a beach cleanup at Funkule. We just picked up the trash on the beach, and hopefully towards the end of the summer we'll be planting some palm trees alongside of the road, and we'll also be planting some palm trees and flower gardens here. And this year I'm quite impressed at the turnout of volunteers we had. We have an amount of 30 volunteers this year, and a lot of people are putting in a lot of effort into it, and you can see a lot of dedication and hard work by these young volunteers, and I'm really proud about that.
And that's the English segment of the news. We now join Macpherson St. Louis for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est Macpherson St. Louis. Premièrement, organisation Youth Business Trust en collaboration avec UNDP, OAS, catching un workshop où on a traîné jeunesse développer quoi à yo ka concerner les affaires culture. Plus que 30 jeunes qui sont engagés en affaires culture, qui reçoivent entraînement en workshop salam, qui prend place en hôtel Garawi en Roseau Semaine Salam. Ministère pour jeunesse, Honorable Justina Charles, attendez cérémonie là pour te ouvrir workshop là.
Nous savons industrie culturelle même son industrie qui a profité avec nous ça fait autant en détail nous ni une manière pour préserver ça nous ni et nous ni pour développer ampli avec nous ni ces jeunes monde là où là yo aller garder comment yo ça fait un business en culture pour yo même ça vivre qui ça mener un bénéfice économique pour yo et puis pour famille yo et puis pour Dominique because nous tout nous attend contre culture nous attend contre livre nous attend contre chanter nous attend contre musique nous attend toutes ces différents bits ça là mais mon l'idée nous point libre dit pour nous il pas important mais nous ka dit un ministry of culture moun ça développer quoi yo culture et yo ça vivre ça vit en manière la vie pour yo même ou là yo ça jouer yo ça travail yo ça travailler si c'est faire livre si c'est faire poème si c'est à manger, si c'est à danser, si c'est en musique, c'est qualité bitin ça là et yo ça vend product yo. Avec mon l'idée avec ces bitin ça là, il y a des différents secteurs Dominique.
Ministre Charles souhaite ces jeunes là bon succès.
Moi les souhaite ces jeunes moun bien because nous sommes actuellement nous tant jeunes moun qui regarder pour manière pour yo fonti pour yo travail et nous savons gouvernement pensant pour tout le monde qui sorti study qui est à case. So ça nous qu'a fait c'est garder pour opportunité pour là ces jeunes moun ça apprendre que joy et yo ça commencer business yo en les onyo et après yo faire ça nous regarder yo même que ça mener d'autres gens monde en dans business yo et yo ça continuer à développer quoi yo.
En notre nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique a poussé devant taper chaque maison en pays là ni en graduate university. Il faut cela plaisir étudier qu'à taper opportunité étudier en l'autre pays. People's Republic of China awardé 11 étudiants Dominique et puis scholarship. Quand même si le ministère de l'Éducation, honorable Peter Saint-Jean, gouvernement Dominique bien plaisir pour le programme éducation salaire.
Gouvernement chinois, une fois encore, quand il a fait toute l'année, le gouvernement Dominique 10 scholarships pour jeunes monde Dominique éduqués en pays chinois. Et nous véritablement contents, nous bien contents pour ça, puisqu'il a nous une chance pour élever standard d'éducation en Dominique. Et vous connaissez que nous avons une vision comme gouvernement qui par 2015 nous voulons un graduate de université en chacun caille en Dominique. Et ça a aidé nous pour nous ouais vision ça là venir à fruition. Et aussi moi voulais dit Dominicain qui c'est pas seulement pays chinois mais nous ni différents gouvernements tout en latin qui a aidé nous pour éduquer jeunes gens mais pour nous que Dominicains ça nous ni pour faire c'est créer à des jeunes Dominicains pour élever koyo pour essayer aider nous en développement pays là.
En notre nouvelle, Dominique a mis plusieurs mesures en place pour empêcher mauvais maladie Black Sigatoka si met en pays là. Depuis maladie ça la arrivée en Dominique, le ministre agriculture mettait une task force en place travail pour combattre maladie ça là. Quand même si l'on parole officier ministre agriculture Winston McGlaw, habitant a bien édité manière pour manager maladie là. Et de commencer à spray et puis couper pied figue qui affecte processus implémenté. Organisation AICA qui a assisté le ministre agriculture travail pour combattre maladie ça là. Et puis finalement, le projet géothermique que le gouvernement a développé qui mène pour l'électricité de San, là qui est venu en réalité. Parole cela sorti au Parlement pour l'ODA, où le projet cela a développé, honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre. Si l'homme ministre McIntyre, Dominique a aussi exporté produit cela pour la Guadeloupe et puis Martinique.
Si nous avons fait en énergie, en électricité, hot ça, il est plus cheap pour nous. Parce qu'actuellement, nous ne pouvons pas servir l'électricité, faire l'électricité hot, diesel, et c'est qualité de ça. Non, nous ne pouvons pas diesel à Dominique, pétrolium, nous ne pouvons pas ça à Dominique. Et bien, ça cher, là, nous avons fait l'argent, l'autre pays, là, nous avons ça. Il a fait pour y arroser. C'est un problème pour nous, pour l'électricité, pour voiture, pour tout le monde qui a servi ça. Ça, nous avons fait à Gouvernement. Nous avons descendu là, nous déjà descendu, et nous avons commencé comme si nous appelle en production well, c'est un plus go to, nous caisse tout et puis un injection well pour voir si nous adapter mais gagner un petit plan pour mettre là pour faire Dominique Nicleté l'électricité hot geothermal il est plus cher il est sorry puis il y a que base qui descend avec ça nous qu'a fait avec nous qu'a garder code comment nous ça faire plus gros plan as well pour nous exporter by ça nous qu'a parler code ça c'est friend nous Guadeloupe Martinique et l'autre pays hot Caribbean pour nous voir by ça descend Dominique vend ça avec nous c'est ça nous qu'a garder qui bien important pour nous.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nous faire en créole pour présent. Non, moi c'est Mervin. Au revoir.
Up next is the tip of the day.
Let your spirit take to flight. Let your heart run free and wild. Find your soul in Dominica, the nature
One of the keys to happiness is a bad memory. Sometimes it's necessary to forget the past.
You will not be happy if you carry the burden of the past. Did you make mistakes? Did you have terrible experiences? Whatever they are, you should let them go.
There's nothing you can do about the past, so it's better to let go and focus all your energy on the present. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm.
You could also visit our GIS Dominica pages on both YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin Matthew.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Thanks for watching.
There's a point I want to share with you. They say there's nothing you can do about an earthquake. It's sudden. But there's something we can do. Having our family planning meeting in advance, just in case, to protect the children and the family.
Nous ne pouvons pas parler de condom, coil et tablet. So anyone can make quick, but when you're running, you must know where you're running to. Okay?
See me on Twambler an earthquake. You, your family and your children and everybody at home must know exactly what to do, where to go, where to run. And the other thing is that you must know your surroundings. Because in your you can trip and fall and get hurt. Another secure place to go is under a table. Don't go under a glass table or a window or a door. It will break and shikaye and cut you. Go under a strong table. You want to see how? You come in, you get it. But it's not just to drop, cover, and hold. And then you have your head in your leg and you cover your head and you cover your eyes and Felix, tell them.
And yes, drop, cover, and hold. But only to serve Kumankai know your surroundings, where it is safe in the house.
And one thing to remember, if an earthquake happens, you must find a secure place, and your bathroom is a secure place, a sure place, because the smaller the place, the more secure you are. So remember that.
And under a potager, the dresser is a very good place to hide.
I agree.
The closet, where you have all those old jackets and those kiang, all the shoes, is a very good place, is a safe place. The closet.
That's a good idea.
And the bookshelf, n'importe place comme ça qui s'est tombé à saut. Stay away.
A message from the Office of Disaster Management in Dominica.